Alexa Glazer is on the road to live out her dreams. Dreams of passionate endeavors and mind-blowing experiences. Alexa graduated from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas with a bachelor's in business management and 2 minors in entrepreneurship and dance. She was a member of the national championship dance team at UNLV, the Rebel Girls. Currently, she's building her own empire called Living the Dream, the Movement. Writing a book and blog, collaborating with teams as a performance and life coach, as well as working with a nonprofit in rural Clark County. She speaks in front of people like you so that she can challenge your mind and turn you, and in turn, can challenge hers. She believes that life is a series of contradictions. Rules are meant to be broken, and that everyone should be living the dream, day in and day out. Here to share her story, help me welcome Alexa Glazer.
I want you to take a look at your own life, and I want you to ask yourself, what do you think living the dream means? And then after you come up with your idea of what that means, I want you to ask yourself if you're living it. Are you doing it? So I want to lay out a timeline for you. So 3.5 years ago, I was living the dream because nothing bad had ever happened to me. Because I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada, still dating my high school sweetheart, and dancing on one of the best dance teams in the nation. The only things I was stressed about was school, injuries, and making a few bucks to pay my rent with. Life 3.5 years ago was easy. Therefore, it had to be what living the dream was. So fast forward in time, today, I'm living the dream because bad things have happened to me. Because I've hit rock bottom, hit it again, and then again. Because I now know what it feels like to feel those emotions in your entire being. Because in spite of the struggles, the hardships, and the days I had to fight with myself to get out of bed, I am now a different person. Because in those situations, I learned perspective. And I became a better human being because of those. So now I live the life that people say is unfair. That's not easy. So I know based on that video, you're like, no, you're living the dream because you're killing it. You're knocking one thing off your bucket list after the next. You're jumping off bridges and out of airplanes for fun. And on top of it, you have friends and family that you love and adore. So with that said, I've had plenty of people say, well, of course she's living the dream. She's young, blonde, and living on the beach. Well, they're wrong. In my opinion, this is someone who knows nothing about me. They don't know my story. It's someone who's judging people and stereotyping based on a superficial appearance, and someone who probably isn't happy with their own current reality. And so these experiences I've been a part of, the things that I have and do, they have enhanced my life tremendously, and they fill me with so much joy. But that's not why I'm living the dream. That's not why I'm standing here in front of you all today. So on January 27th, 2014, I lost my dad. I lost him unexpectedly, I lost him quickly, and I lost him like a slap in the face as the entire world stopped revolving around me. My dad was 49 years old. He died of a heart attack in 3 seconds in front of my mother's eyes in their bedroom of our home back in Cleveland, Ohio. So I didn't get the phone call with future hopes and hugs. I got the phone call, Lex, Dad died. And so my entire world stopped moving, stopped revolving. Him and my entire family was there, and I was here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with not any idea of what my next move was going to be. And so I didn't move. Because I couldn't, because the room was frozen in time, and I was in the daze of my life. I didn't say it out loud because I didn't believe it. My vocal cords wouldn't say those dreaded words, and I felt that if I said it, I was the one who was actually killing him. And I didn't cry. I couldn't. The tears just wouldn't come. Until the moment I did move. Until the moment I did say it out loud. Until the moment I did cry. Now this is when my entire world came shattering down. When I wanted to fall to the floor, curl up into the fetal position, and hide from anyone and anything. Here's to the moment I've never felt more alone, more unsure, and more scared of anything in my entire life. And so, I learned from my dad being here, and even more so from when he wasn't here, that you have to go about living the dream. You have to find a way to get up and go and do that. And so, my dad's spirit was undeniably rich. He had the kindest soul, was the best father, husband, coach, friend that you could possibly ever ask for. And I know I'm biased, but I truly believe that he was the man, the myth, and the legend. He was living the dream day in and day out, and not because of those materialistic extremities of life, but because of his 3 girls, his passion for life, service for others, and baseball. So this wasn't always the case, to be living the dream because of those simple things, to be what other people say like average. So his dream was to play professional baseball, to be in the big leagues, to be an all-star, to win the World Series. Now, there my dad was, not tall enough, not fast enough, not good enough, so in the end, not drafted, dream crushed. So his next big dream, I want to stay in the baseball environment, right? So I want to be a big league scout, and he got this opportunity. He got the call from the New York Yankees to be a full-time scout. Dream achieved, or so you would think. Now, when I found out he didn't take it, just 5 months ago from my grandma, I was actually upset with him. I'm like, you have a dream, you get the dream, so go after it. The truth is, my dad didn't fail at making his dreams a reality, they simply changed. And he had to make a decision to pivot because of it. So my dad didn't take this position because he found out my mother was pregnant with my older sister. And he didn't want us to go through the Major League Baseball lifestyle, which by no means is all butterflies and unicorns. His family became his dream. His idea of living the dream shifted, and he made his priorities an actual priority. So he didn't let his downfalls and fears control him. He found his why and his purpose in life. So this is a problem I think society has today. We put so much thought into the idea of fear and fear of failure, that this fear doesn't allow dreams to be fulfilled. So then these dreams merely become wishes, because no one wants to take action. No one wants to work harder than the person next to them. No one wants to sacrifice sleep, lose social time, or grind. And so, what I learned from my dad is that it's all about perspective. It's okay to pivot, it's okay to change. And so, my dad still was an all-star. But instead of an all-star baseball player, he was an all-star in life. He still was in the big leagues, but instead of Major League Baseball, he was in the big leagues of parenthood, and his marriage, and the rest of the passions that surface his everyday life. So, I came up with this formula called the Glazer formula, based on what I think living the dream is, based on what I learned from my dad while he was here, but more importantly, what I learned from him while he left this earth. And so those 5 things are sacrifice, the grind, small victories, happiness, and humility. And so my dad, his team didn't end up being a group of men with really nice looking butts and their tight baseball pants. His team was us. It was his wife, the people he created with his own blood. And so living the dream should be based on the now. It's living the dream today because tomorrow is not promised. It's not promised for you. It's not promised for me. It's not promised for anyone in this world. And so this idea is to prove, show, and remind you that you are lucky enough to be here, be alive, and be present. To stop dreaming and start actually doing. Living the dream is not your end-all, be-all, like we like to think. It's not the glitz and glam of life, those materialistic things. It's the grind. It's the highs, the lows, your celebrations as well as your darkest of days. The best part about life is that you have one. Too many people live every single day like they're already dead. Why are we wasting it? And so back to 3.5 years ago, back to when I was living the dream because life was easy, because I was one of those lucky ones. My biggest mentor sat me down and he asked me, Alexa, tell me the worst thing that's ever happened to you. And my response was naive because I graciously said nothing. And deep down in my gut, I felt that it was going to stay that way because I thought that I was one of those lucky ones. And I don't blame myself because I haven't faced any major tribulations yet. I now know better. I now know what it's like to have the worst thing that ever happened to you happen. And so after my dad had passed away, I had to find a way to cope. And so I reached out to people to try and help them, a way to gain inspiration, a way to talk to my dad and get my thoughts out in the universe. And so I had to ask myself, what are the things that you can do in order to release that energy that's inside of you? So I want you to ask yourself, what are those things that you do when sacrifice happens? When the need to either give up something or lose something happens in your life? What do you do when that void needs to be filled? So for me, I started journaling, I danced a lot, I Netflix binged too much, I ate chocolate in large quantities, and I toasted one too many kettle shots. So I kept doing these things until I found that there are healthier ways to go about loss, to go about the pain that I was feeling. And so this is what people don't tell you when the worst thing that's ever happened to you happens. You change. You become a brand new person. Some things change for the better and some for the worse. You grow. You start to take every breath and cherish it. You wake up every single morning and physically wear that day out. You do anything and everything you can to live that life, that legacy over the things that have been taken from underneath your feet. Now, if only it were that simple, if you could feel that high every day. Truth is, you don't. You get tired. You get depressed. You start to wake up and not want to get out of bed. You eat less, in other cases you eat more. And the only thing you're wearing out now is the same old t-shirt that you've been wearing for the past few days. That's what people don't tell you when the worst thing that's ever happened to you happens. They leave out the gruesome details of not being able to sleep, having bruised and swollen eyes from crying so much, and staring at yourself in the mirror like you're a completely different person. Now, I don't blame these people, because that's scary. That's where that fear sets in. That's where we get scared. And so, back to those 5 components of living the dream. That first one being sacrifice. Sacrifice is the need to either give up something or to lose something. Sacrifice is the journey where you learn perspective, where you grow as a person, and you become the strongest you that you can be. This journey is where it lays out all of your most important values smack dab in front of your face. It's where you learn your why. And so in my life, sacrifice was losing my dad. It was walking away from an unhealthy relationship that made me lose faith and trust of people, and then having to give up a love and watching someone else walk away from me when I wasn't ready for that. Sacrificing my dad was giving up his childhood dream of being a professional baseball player for his family, for us. So now the grind, and this is my favorite, it fires me up. The grind, in my terms, is to thrive under all conditions. It's to do things when they're uncomfortable, unexpected, not easy, when you wake up and don't want to do them, but you do them anyway. Because you see that light at the end of the tunnel. The grind shouldn't scare you. It should pump you up. And so, talk about the grind when your parents get married before they're 20, have 2 girls before they're 25, my dad working 7 days a week, my mom 5, dropping us off every night at sports practice after sports practice, and spending weekends away at dance competitions. Parenthood became their grind, and they lived for it. Now, this has been ingrained in me my entire life. It's to have the courage to be vulnerable, to do things when you don't want to, when they're not easy. Most recently, the grind for me has been working on me. Being selfish, putting me and myself, my priorities to the top of that priority list. So the next one, small victories. It's finding them in each and every day. To notice that the biggest victory that you carry is having that life I talked about earlier. You have, so don't waste it. So whether it's looking at yourself every morning and saying, today's a victory because I woke up, I am here. Whether it's sending someone across the room a smile, a wave, whatever it is, you got to work without traffic. Look at those small victories. The next one is happiness. And I believe that there are 4 components to happiness. And the first one is that you have to choose it every single day. You have to wake up and make a choice and say, I'm going to be happy, even if today I'm crabby, I didn't get enough sleep, and yesterday sucked. What we're focusing on right now. So choose it. The next portion of happiness is that it's contagious. So on those days where you're trying to choose happiness and you just can't seem to get there, go rub up against someone that is. Or vice versa, if you're happy and you see someone else that isn't, go infect them. Yes? The next one is that it's a lifelong pursuit. And lastly, just as fine wine, it gets better with age. And I know that that's something that excites me because I know as I get older and these sacrifices and the grind and all these things keep happening, I know that I'm going to be able to appreciate how happy I am because of those low moments. And lastly, humility. Humility gives you the ability to be magnetic. It makes you always aim higher, to not be good, but to be great. It attaches you to all those people that make your heart all warm and fuzzy inside. So humility for me has come in the form of gut checks. The gut checks of life. That no one is safe from hurt, heartbreak, or reality. That when you're able to accept these moments and lose any ounce of entitlement that you may carry, you gradually become more humble because you have to be. It's understanding that not one person deserves a moment of galloping on their high horse. So humble yourself, and the rest will fall into place because everyone is replaceable. And so as I was going through my journey of living the dream and what I think it meant and asking myself all of these questions, I've realized that everything happens for a reason, even if we may never know what that reason is. I believe that traumatic events have the opportunity to create monumental moments and in turn can create a burning passion deep in your soul. So all these thoughts, feelings, and actions are a part of me and they may or may not be a part of you. Because everyone in this room has a unique story. And for that, everyone is allowed to feel how they need to feel because everything in life is situational. So because of these events, I believe that big dreams and small dreams are make the world go round. That dreams evolve, stimulate, and inspire all walks of life, all ages, and all shapes and sizes. Dreams don't discriminate, and in turn can create a burning passion deep in your soul. And so, this Glazer formula to live in the dream, it's a process, and the takeaway is that you have to embrace it. You have to embrace the journey. The struggle truly is a part of the process, and the process is what is so beautiful if you just trust in it. So trust in your dream, and know that living the dream is different for every single soul in this room. There's not a right or wrong answer. There's not directions to get you where you need to go. There's only the passion to be resilient in your adventures and to thrive under any circumstance that might stand in your way. And trust me, they will try to stand in your way. And so as we look at this formula, I know what you guys might be thinking. Well, living the dream is supposed to be fun. Look at how much fun you were having up there. It is fun, but it's hard work. And so people say, I shouldn't have to go through the grind. I shouldn't have to sacrifice something. I shouldn't have to choose happiness day in and day out. It just happened. I deserve that. Again, humble yourself, right? And so as I was going through this process, and as I had learned that it really is about that struggle, about that journey of becoming a brand new person, becoming a better human being. So as much as I want my dad sitting in one of these chairs in the flesh, hearing what I have to say, I know deep down that I wouldn't be here doing the things that I'm doing and touching the lives that I'm touching if he were. Now trust me, that's a tough pill to swallow on many occasions, because I feel like I owe part of my success to the life that he had, but more so the life that he lost. Because of that sacrifice of having to lose my dad in order to gain something one day. And so when I said that that's a tough pill to swallow, I can stand up here and close my eyes and I can picture him sitting right there with a huge smile on his face, proud as ever. And then you open it. You open your eyes and you realize that that's not the actual reality that you're in. But if you do trust in that process, you start to understand that's okay. And so going back to the people that think living the dream should be easy, it should be fun. It should be, but life isn't easy. Life is not supposed to be easy, and life is never going to be easy. I'm sorry to break it to you. So trust in that process, love the process, and enjoy the process. Love it through all its beautiful situations, and move through all the sticky ones. Learn that perspective. Grow from it. So for me, the loss, the betrayal, the drama, all those little things, that's what I was talking about earlier when I said traumatic events have the opportunity to make yourself exceed any expectations you once had. It's to change the course of the life that you once had. So I'm going to leave you with this. I don't really believe that there are the lucky ones. I believe that you have to go forth and do things in order to make them happen. So listen to this. As you think life is unfair, we think that it should be easy. Life really isn't that unfair if it's unfair to everyone. I actually think that's what makes life so fair, unexpected, and amazing. So as you saw in that video, I like to leave Post-its everywhere with positive sayings on them, things to make people have that perspective and learn something, grow something if they're having a bad day, whatever it may be. So if you look in your bags, you're going to find one of these with a Post-it on it. And so I want you to keep the movement moving. I want you to write something on that Post-it, and I want you to put it anywhere and everywhere. I promise that if you do something for someone else, something positive is going to happen for you without even expecting it. And that's what this journey has done for me. So take your time, figure out whatever you want to say on that Post-it, but I challenge you, go do that. Make someone else's day. Thank you so much, and go live the dream.
In the dream, the movement, keep it going for. I love this diverse lineup of speakers that we have today. You know, it doesn't matter what you do, if you're gonna send a rocket to the moon,